to the Heavy Duty Hub podcast. This is episode 8, and the Heavy Duty Hub is powered by KEA Advisors, driving real dealership profit. I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Chris.
And today we have a special guest speaker with us. We have Mr. Gill Klinger from KEA Advisors. And I know the last few episodes we've got heavy into the parts department. So today we're going to take a little bit of a different turn, and we're going to start talking about service. And the topic we're talking about today is triage. So Gil, if you could, first of all, just give us a little background about yourself and then explain what is triage.
Sure. Well, thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate that. I've been in the transportation business for 41 years. My strong points include service processing, removing waste, and finding out how the dealership become more profitable, just using the staff that we have in the buildings that we keep right now. Triage is based on that term that we use in the medical facilities. Basically, we want to find out what's wrong, and is this something quick and simple we can fix, or do we require major surgery, so to speak? So it's a very important step in the overall service department process. We're looking for reducing waste and taking care of our customers. Our motto should be same day, next day. We want to look at the truck the first day. We want to try and get back to the customer by the end of the second day. And triage is a very big part of this. Most of the service departments we've seen as we travel around operate with a first come, first served basis and using the cradle to grave, meaning the same technician inspects it, diagnoses it, and then they get approval for the repair, put it back in the bay or keep it in the bay during those times, do the repairs, do the quality inspection, and get it back to the customer. Through our studies and the data that we collect, we know on an average across North America since COVID, the average time to do a 4-hour repair in most dealerships is 4.8 days. That's just an astounding record. So we ask ourselves, is there a better way? That better way includes doing a triage process where we get the truck in, we have a dedicated staff to doing that, and we try to get our information back to the customer as soon as we can so they can make a quick business decision on how we should proceed. That's basically the triage in a nutshell.
So, Gil, the question I have is that if I'm in the dealership, why does triage matter? And more importantly, why is this important for my dealership?
It's a great question, Chris. Thanks for asking that. Triage is very important to the dealership from a customer experience standpoint. Wow, that was a lot to spit out. That being said, what I mean by that is we'd like to get the truck into diagnosing, into a triage bay, so to speak, and get an answer back to the customer within the first 2 hours. Now, I want to be clear about this. I didn't mean that I would diagnose the truck in the first 2 hours. I didn't say I'd fix it in the first 2 hours. And I didn't say that I'd provide an estimate in the first 2 hours. What we do want to do is determine or get close to determining the root cause and then coming up with a repair plan path. What I mean by that is the truck going to be quick and simple? Are we going to have to put the driver in a hotel, or should we repower the load, especially for those transient customers that we see? So by having a triage system and having an idea in the first 2 hours of what it's going to take to fix it and how long it might be, or what the next steps would be, is a very important key. See what I did there? It's an important key element in our overall process of getting that information back to the customer as quick as we can so they can make a business decision and a better customer experience all at the same time.
So let me ask you, Gil. So what are the benefits to the customer and to the dealer, like Chris just asked?
Great question, Jeremy. The best answer I can come up with is not only are we making the customer happier, as a dealership, we're also more profitable. So let me take that a step further. The triage process, where we have a dedicated one or more dedicated technicians that are really good with the diagnosing part, that's their only job. pull the truck in, do the inspection, courtesy inspection. They do the root cause analysis if they can within the first 2 hours. And then there's a hard stop. At that end of the 2 hours, do we have enough information? Can we create an estimate? Do we know what the root cause is? Or do we need to request more diagnosis time from the customer? At that 2 hour hard stop, we back the truck out of the stall and we get the next one in, and we continue like a machine. The next step in what we see and what we implement at Key Advisors is we divide the shop up into sections, compartments, if you may. We'll have a diagnostic triage technician. We'll have a quick repair team, because about 72% on average in our dealerships that we see and we work with is 4 hours or less. So do we dedicate a quick repair team to that? Then if the repairs are 4 hours or more, we have a dedicated team that will take advanced diagnosis or main shop repairs like transmissions, drive lanes, engine repairs, those kind of things. By doing this process, it allows us to feed the machine. 72% of our business is 4 hours or less, so we can diagnose. We get the approval from the customer. On an average, our dealers are running 80 to 90% back counter fill rate. And what's important to that is 80 to 90% of the time we have the parts to be able to fix the truck quickly and efficiently and back it out the door. If we don't have that kind of system, the system we currently use, one diagnostic tech would look at the truck, send off the estimate, get that approved. He'll be working on another truck at the same time. It might take them some time to get back to the first truck. Again, extending our throughput times. And the customer, on an average, is losing about $1,500 a day pre-COVID of revenue for every day it sits in our shops. So our goal should be, again, same day, next day. Inspect the truck the first day, and then try and repair it and get back to the customer by the end of the next day.
So, Gil, question for you too, and I really appreciate you explaining the benefits and how this works, this process of triage. So the question that most people will have, and of course I have right now, is can I do it with my existing staff, or would I have to potentially add more people to make this happen?
Chris, again, great question. And what we would do is evaluate the current staff that you have. We're looking for a technician that's overall well-rounded and can get a diagnosis about 80% of the time. We don't expect our technicians to be 100% because we would set them up to fail. So by having a technician overall about 80%, this allows us the time, the ability to get the truck in. And we know most of the time, within about 45 minutes, we have a pretty good idea on how the diagnostic of that vehicle should be. Is it quick and simple, or do we have to apply for more additional time so we can send it down to advanced triage? We would love to be able to show you that we can do more with your current staff and your current facilities. This process is just taking and organizing the workflow in your service departments so that we can do more with less. Again, taking your current staff, dividing them up. We'll have a triage dedicated team, one, maybe two, depending on your amount of work that comes through the door. Then we have a dedicated team to doing nothing but quick repair and main shop work with the advanced diagnosis. By doing this, we can reduce the overall time that it takes and reducing throughput at the same time, which is more profitable for the dealership. The sooner we get them done, the higher we've proven, the higher gross profit is available. The longer we keep them, the gross profit drops dramatically day by day. And the overall customer experience is amazing. I'd love to bring my truck in, figure out what's wrong, and try and get it back to me by the next day or sooner.
So Gil and Chris, you, me, Gil, we all deal with this on a daily basis. And this is something that I actually look forward to hearing this when we go into a dealership. Again, automotive, truck, tractor, heavy equipment, trailer, it doesn't matter. Right now we currently have around 400 projects going on at any given time, and it never ceases to amaze me. When we come in, we can tell them we're going to increase your profit,
Mhm.
we're going to increase your sales,
Yes, sir.
we're going to improve your workflows and processes, we're going to improve your throughput, getting jobs done quicker.
Mhm.
But inevitably, we have this come up. Yeah, that's great, but you don't understand my business. It's never going to work here. How do you combat that, Gil? And if you would, give us an example or two. Don't mention any names because we haven't asked for permission to use their names. But how do you overcome that and give us an example?
That's a great question. Wow. Never heard that. Hey, it'll never work here story, but you're right. That's usually the pushback we get. That's a fantastic unicorn story or Cinderella story, but that will never happen here because you're right. We don't understand how they work. So we take the time at Key Advisors to come in and do an overall analysis of how you do how currently you're doing your business. What's your business model look like? Um, what's your workflows? Who's involved? Things like that. And then we look to streamline the process. Our goal is to keep the techs in the bays working on trucks. And when we get pushback like that, Jeremy, it'll never work here. We've always done it this way. We don't want to change. Yeah, it sounds great, but we, key advisors, have to answer the question, what's in it for me? When we can show that it becomes more profitable for the technicians, they can book more time, they can make their bonuses easier. Overall, everybody's making more money and we have better customer experiences. But you're right. Until we can prove that and make them think that it's their idea, their way of, hey, yeah, let's implement it. We think this is a better idea. That's the best approach. I always want that guy in the back that says, yeah, no, never going to happen. As soon as I can turn him, he's my biggest advocate for the overall process that we want to incorporate. He would become our cheerleader to the rest of the group and go, hey, yep, I'm making more money and this is easier. I don't struggle. And yes, they have better internal communications, external communications, better customer experience, all while being more profitable in the dealership. But to be successful, we have to start from the top down. This has to be supported by at least the general manager, the owners, the location manager, and they have to believe in it. And then they have to live it. They have to hold their staff accountable. And sometimes that might be a little painful. But we walk with you step by step. We go through all the processes and we try to figure out, hey, are the parts being delivered to the base? Or do the technicians have to walk to the back counter and then stand there? Because we have one parts counter person, and then a second tech walks up, and then a third tech walks up. And all of a sudden we're thinking in our head, how much time is being wasted standing at the parts counter? We can either stage the parts, and again, works with the quick repair in main shop areas that we have dedicated, or we can deliver the parts out to them. They can turn around and pick up the parts, drop off the parts, pick up the cores, pick up the warranty parts, all allowing us to keep the techs in the bay in that overall repair process that started way back at Triage. So it's a big full circle. And then once everybody believes in the process and understands that it's a better way all the way around, everybody can get on the bus and we all go in the same direction. Does it make sense?
It
Oh, yeah.
does. It does. So give us an example of one of your success stories.
Okay. Recently, we worked together with the dealer group, and their main store has 23 technicians. Since they've implemented the triage, and by the way, before we started the process, they were about 3 weeks out for telling the customer, hey, yeah, bring the truck over in about 3 weeks, we'll get you. And that included tow-ins, it included everything because they were cradle to grave mentality. Once we sat down and we went through it, we chose 3 technicians because the amount of work that they have inbound every day, and they work 2 shifts. We dedicated a triage team that did nothing but the diagnosis. They did the courtesy inspection, they did the diagnosis, they parked the truck outside. They use a thing called Decisive. Some of our dealerships have that. In this tool, they were able to communicate what was wrong, what the root cause was, and what parts are necessary to take the next step. They park the truck outside, send up the information either on a hard copy, whatever process you currently have, drop it off, go get the next truck, pull it in, and keep doing this repeatedly. By having this triage system, then we decided, hey, let's create a quick repair team to handle those 4 hours. Because we have strong diagnostic technicians, when we created the quick repair system, we put in the C&D techs. These are, careful how you use these terms, but they're not parts replacers. They're learning the overall process and repairing trucks. With the triage technicians overseeing them, they're building their skill levels, they're understanding how the systems work. The triage technicians also QC those repairs to make sure they're done properly. Or if they decide that this is a big job, it's going to be more than 4 hours to do the repairs, they'll back the truck out, send up their information up to the service advisor. We'll either request more additional diagnosis time in the advanced phase, or we'll send it over to the main shop. By creating this, we reduced that 3-week backlog to same day, next day mentality. It didn't happen overnight. And during these processes, we had to figure out what worked and what didn't work. And if it didn't work, we came back together as a team and said, here's either our speed bumps, here's our roadblocks, here's our bottlenecks, whatever we decided. And then in the spirit of continuous improvement, we came up with plan B or plan C. During this course of time, at the end of a year-long project, we had actually taken that quick repair from 0 to 4, and then we created a second team that did 4 to 6. By doing all this and becoming organized, we had one back parts counter gentleman that served 23 technicians and delivered and picked up all the parts every day. The techs were in their bays, and by the time they were all done with this, they even went paperless because everything works so well. They've doubled their labor sales in less than a year. Their gross profit went up 6 percentage points, and their throughput times dropped more than 3 times the amount. Again, 4-hour repair, they were doing them in less than 24 hours, turning and burning. And they became so popular that the fleets would bring other makes and models and said, hey, can you work on my truck because you did a great job with the last one? You service, will you do all of my service? So they've been very successful by dedicating themselves and thinking outside the box, going, hey, let's try this triage. What do we have to lose? Right. There's a little bit of pushback in the beginning. That did happen. But once the technicians, the foreman understood, everybody got on board and everybody made their life easier. And the best part is we were able to promote our staff internally by taking the C&D techs and moving up to Bs and hiring more. We kept that chain, so we always had a place for advancement. We had happier employees, better customer experience, all while being more profitable all at the same time. That's my syndrome.
Well, I was going to ask one more question, Gil, but you actually answered it, which is great. And I was going to say, you always have that one stubborn parts guy that's, hey, it's great. You're talking about service and all the great things that triage is going to do for me in service. Well, how does it help me sell more parts? And he just answered it right there like a thing of beauty. Because your efficiency and proficiency, it goes up so high, throughput, you're selling more with the same amount of labor and effort as you did before. So fantastic. And it's hard to believe because, man, we could just keep going, but we are already up against our time for today, which is mind-blowing, right?
Yeah, just time flew by. I didn't even recognize that.
Yeah,
so Gil, but before we get off here, you know, there's a favorite quote of mine that says, when you change the way you look at things, the way you look at things changes. And it is so true in everything we do, and especially talking about setting up a shop with this triage. You know, you got to change the way you look at things. So, Gil, we very much appreciate you coming by. We hope you'll be with us again soon. You know,
Would love
maybe
to.
even the next one or the next two or three, but love talking to you. Love having you with us. And like Chris said, we're out of time, so I'll leave it to Chris to wrap up and give all our information, and we will see everybody next time.
Thank
Yeah,
you for the
first-
opportunity, gentlemen.
Oh, anytime, Gil. Yeah, we definitely need to continue this on. You know, we've talked a lot about parts, but there's service is a whole nother animal that we can get into. So that's a fantastic thing. So remember, just go ahead and email your questions to us at theheavydutypod@gmail.com. That's theheavydutypod@gmail.com. You can also check out other podcasts similar to this on theheavydutyhub.net. And most importantly, we all wouldn't be here today without Key Advisors. Check out Key Advisors at keaadvisors.com. And you can also email them as well at info@keaadvisors.com. Just remember to like and subscribe. We're here for you. We love doing this if you can't tell. And we're looking forward to seeing you all in the next one. Thanks again.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.